Hey, how's it going YouTube? Welcome to the JC channel. I'm Jerry and today I will be showing you guys a Wi-Fi battle against Renz. This match I thought was pretty funny, as you will see later. So here we have my team comp, my defensive core Shuckle Klefki, Excadrill for rapid spin support, Manectric for HP Ice, Slurpuff for belly drum setup, and Bisharp as a bulky bruiser. On the other side we have Chansey and Slowbro as his defensive core, Ambipom for fake out support, Talonflame as a sweeper. He also has his own Excadrill and a Rotom lawnmower, perhaps as a scarfed sweeper. The one thing I realized about his defensive core is that when combined with switch-ins, they can wall off any type of hit, while on the other hand my defensive core is oriented towards setup fodder, putting up entry hazards for the rest of our team to sweep. I lead off with my Shuckle as he leads with his Excadrill, both teams starting off wanting to get entry hazard support nice and early for their teams. So straight away I go for a power split, and what power split does is it evens his attack and averages with Shuckle's, and Shuckle basically has like virtually no attack, so this means I'll be able to take a lot of hits before I go down. This forces him to switch into his Slowbro and I can safely go for the sticky web on the switch out. Right here he goes for a Scald and it's gonna do super effective damage, and unfortunately I get a burn. It's very unfortunate, and this seems to be the norm for us knowing our luck. I go straight for the Toxic here and this is well worth it, as this significantly cuts the longevity of Slowbro's regenerator ability and being able to constantly wall us down the track. So we're both here gonna take some burn and poison damage, and I don't want to take another Scald, so I'm just gonna switch out right away. And next up, we're gonna bring our Klefki in to get our dual screen and spike support going. So here he goes for a Scald, hoping to try to get a super effective hit on our Shuckle. We didn't take that Scald as well as I hoped we would. So here I queue up a foul play, hoping to do a ton of damage to Slowbro since Dark is super effective against Psychic. Unfortunately he's gonna switch out into his Rotom lawnmower and we actually get a crit, but it doesn't do much damage. Knowing Rotoms are notorious for its special attacks such as Volt Switch and in this case Leaf Storm, we're going to put up a light screen with that light play, which will give us time to set up more entry hazards. Seeing that damage and the special attack drop, he's just going to switch out right away. So Klefki, being a beast, has scared off two of his pokes, which is going to give us an easy time setting up our 3 layers of spikes, which will be crucial for late game sweeping. We're going to set up our Reflect now in order to reduce the damage taken from physical hits, knowing that Chansey is probably going to go for a Seismic Toss, or several Seismic Tosses I should say. But he's actually going to surprise us and go for an Aromatherapy to cure the Slowbro from the Toxic that our Shuckle inflicted earlier. So our Klefki is just going to go ahead and set up another 3 layer of spikes while we still can. The Chansey is going to go for a Seismic Toss, and this is when I realized that even though it's a physical hit, the damage is not halved by the Reflect we just put up. Instead, it actually just does a flat 50 damage. So this next Seismic Toss is definitely going to take us out. But you know what, Klefki? You put in work. You definitely put in a lot of work. So you can sit this one out, man. Good job. Now we're gonna go into our Bisharp, and him knowing that Chansey's Eviolite is very valuable and that we do carry the knockoff. It will do tons of damage, knock off his Eviolite, and perhaps even one-shot the Chansey, so he's definitely going to switch out. And knowing this, we're going to go for a Sword Stance to set up and try to deal with whatever comes our way. So right here we're in a pretty good position. We got that +2 Sword Stance going and we're going to have our damage doubled. So here he's going to go for an obvious fake out, which since we're steel types we do resist that quite well. So right now here's where the mind games begin, because I do know with +2 my Sucker Punch is going to one-shot the Ambipom. While at the same time I don't want to take any damage, but he does outspeed me. So this is where there's a little bit of back and forth where I go for the Sucker Punch and he goes for a fake out, but obviously it fails because it's not the first turn of the switch in, so fake out does not work. So eventually I just say, screw you, I'm gonna slap you upside the head, I don't like you anyway, Ambipom, go away. Interestingly, when we find out that it's a Silk Scarf set as opposed to a Life Orb or a Focus Sash, Here he brings out his Rotom Lawnmower, and I was expecting a Volt Switch or even a Leaf Storm, but he surprises us by going for a Will-O-Wisp. Judging by the way that he's been playing Rotom, I can safely assume that he's Scarfed and go for a safe knockoff, knowing that he's going to switch in something else and that nothing on his team appreciates a +2 knockoff. So he's going to bring in his Slowbro as death fodder, and knowing that most pokes nowadays carry an item, that knockoff's gonna do double damage and it's gonna be super effective against psychic types, so that Slowbro is definitely going to get one-shotted even with the burn, but we do have a +2, so it's going to be as if we aren't burnt. And that knockoff is going to reveal that he has been running an Assault Vest. Next up, he's going to bring in his Talonflame. And at this point in time, we are burnt and low health, and nothing on our team really wants to take a Brave Bird, so we're going to have to just fodder off our Rayquan. So at this point, I'm just praying that he is Choice Banded and that I can go into my Excadrill and take a Brave Bird or two and retaliate with Rock Slide. So right now my thoughts are basically, if he is Choice Banded and he has to Brave Bird me, he will probably switch out knowing that it's not going to do much and I can retaliate with the Rock move. But he ends up going for the Brave Bird. He's gonna pop my air balloon, and I was banking on the fact that he's going to switch out, so I went for Stealth Rocks on this turn. So seeing as he is locked into Brave Bird and he sees those Stealth Rocks, we can just assume that he wants to fodder off his Talonflame by staying in and attacking our Excadrill. So our little mole is actually going to live with a slither of health. And he's going to be able to retaliate with the Rock Slide. So that 4-time super effective Rock Slide is going to be lights out for the Talonflame. So next up, he's going to send out his own mole. So knowing that he still has his air balloons up, my Earthquake isn't going to do anything. So right now I'm just hoping to win the Speed type, get the Rapid Spin, and take out his air balloons and the Stealth Rocks on my side of the field. And we do indeed win the Speed tie. Unfortunately, at that range, he is going to knock us out with his own Rapid Spin. So this is very unfortunate for us, but we do end up losing our Sticky Web, our 3 layers of spikes, and our Stealth Rocks. So we are just going to go straight into our Manectric, which is holding the Mega Stone. At this point in time, I did know that there was a very high chance he was going to switch out and go into his specially defensive wall, Chansey, but I did not want to run the risk of him actually just queuing up an Earthquake and completely destroying my Slurpuff on a switch-in. So I just end up Mega Evolving, getting that Intimidate off, and just going for the Overheat, knowing that I would outspeed the Excadrill if he did not switch. So that Overheat really didn't do too much damage, and we are going to get the special attack drop of 2 stages, and we're just going to Volt Switch out of there. For those of you wondering why Chansey is so tanky, it is because she actually has the 2nd highest base health out of all Pokemon in the game. First being, no surprise, Blissey, which is what she evolves into. Secondly, the item Eviolite boosts the defense and special defense of Pokemon that are still able to evolve by 50%. So with Eviolite, it actually makes Chansey tankier than its evolution, Blissey. Just a little fun fact for those of you who might not already know this. So back to the game, I was really just sending in Shuckle as death fodder and to try to get some toxic spread going, try to get maybe infestation. But at this point in the game, I still think that Shuckle could be used as death fodder for another time, so I am actually going to switch him out. And we are actually going to see the Cupcake make its first appearance. Just look at it, it's just so crazy and adorable. Don't you just want to hug it? Well, unless that happens to it. So pretty much the aim of Slurpuff here is just to get a belly drum off. It's gonna cost half our health, but it's going to max out our damage. Actually make it do 3 times the amount of damage that it's supposed to, putting its attack at +6. So right here I go for the Thief, but in actual fact I just hit the wrong button. So that happened, and we're forced to just switch into our Shuckle, this time really as death fodder. So he is going to be able to take our Shuckle out, but Shuckle actually put in a lot of work. like much more work than what I would normally get out of a Galvantula lead. So knowing that the Excadrill does outspeed our Slurpuff, which it will one-shot us with an Iron Head, we're pretty much forced to go into Manectric to try and scare it out and get that Intimidate off, and lower its attack by 1 stage. So he's just going to switch out here, and we're going to see the obvious switch into Chansey again, but once again we're not going to take any risks, and we're just going to go for the safe Overheat. At this point in time, I know that keeping Manectric here is the safest play, because that way Excadrill won't be able to come in, and I'll be able to get my Slurpuff in safely. So now the plan is just to sack off the Manectric and get the safe switch in. So here we're just gonna go for another Thunderbolt. It's not going to do too much at all, and we're going to eat up that Seismic Toss. So basically what makes Slurpuff actually work is because it has Belly Drum and Unburden. So what Belly Drum does is it maxes out its attack, as I've mentioned before, but it's at the cost of halving your own health. And what happens when your health goes to half is Citrus Berry would pop and theoretically bring your health back to about 75%. So you would be quite healthy and you would have a +6, and what Unburden does is when you lose an item, you would gain double your speed, so you'll pretty much outspeed anything in the current meta. And now with the +6 attack and Unburden going, we're just going to go straight for the Play Rough. And that is going to take the Chansey out. So now he brings in his Rotom, and even if it's Scarfed, it's not going to outspeed our Speedy Cupcake, so this actually turned out to be a pretty hilarious sweep. And in comes the Excadrill. It's going to be his last poke. It's not going to outspeed, and just for style points, we are going to finish him off with a Thief. And that is going to be game, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. So for those of you who have watched this far into the video, since we are a new and growing channel, I will be doing some giveaways. To win a flawless, shiny battle ready Pokemon of your choice, like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what your favorite Pokemon to battle with is and why. Along with your friend code, 5 of the best answers will be selected and we will be in contact. Cheers.